Matchmaker Monday is back, and today we're going to be talking about 3 fights I want to see in the next up and coming months, weeks, years, whatever, how long it fucking takes. But obviously, the MMA world was kind of saddened by the news that Conor McGregor will not be fighting Michael Chandler, Hamza Chimaev will not be fighting Robert Whittaker, and then Jamal Hill will not be fighting Carlos Ulberg. So I'm going to be breaking down 3 fights I want to see for each of them, because I think it kind of matches and fits where it goes. So we'll start with Chandler, because I think Chandler's the one who's actually going to fight. I don't think McGregor's going to fight. And I'm going to take a little bit of a leap of faith here. I honestly think it's not far-fetched to do a Charles Oliveira rematch. And hear me out here. So Charles is after coming off a loss, Arman Tsarukyan. He's probably ranked 3rd or 2nd in the rankings now. I don't know the rankings off the top of my head. He's probably ranked 2nd or 3rd. Chandler's maybe 5th or 6th. They fought maybe three and a bit years ago now. That was for the belt, the vacant belt. Both of them have kind of gone on, and they fought everyone else in the division. I think honestly a Chandler versus Oliveira rematch makes sense, because it puts whoever wins right back in the mix. Like if Charles knocks him out again like he did the first time, that just puts him right back in the mix. And if Chandler were to win, that puts him straight in the mix. If you beat Charles Oliveira, it doesn't matter who you are, you're not that far off the belt. Or a number 1 contender fight or something, bro. So I honestly think a Charles versus Chandler rematch is it makes a lot of sense. I think both of them would take that fight. I think Chandler is probably a little bit more hesitant, simply because, especially for Chandler, man, because you have to think about it. Chandler has literally gotten the biggest fight in the whole entire sport. The whole entire sport. And now he's going to come fight Charles. Like, it is a bit of a fucking downgrade. Like, let's just call it how it is. A massive downgrade. But, you know, I think it's a fight that makes sense. It's an entertaining fight. Fans will be up for it because, you know, Chandler and Oliveira, they both come to fight. You know, they're both fighters. And I think it's a good fight. And I think it's a winnable fight for either of them. Like, we saw it in that fight how back and forth it was. Chandler nearly finished him in the first round. Arguably should have finished him in the first round. And then Oliveira caught him with a left hook, one of the most beautiful left hooks you will see in that second round, and then put him away. So it's a 50-50 fight, and that's the fight I want to see. Next, Hamzat Chimaev was out of his fight against Robert Whittaker during the week, unfortunately. And I want to see Hamzat versus Cannonier, man. I want to see Hamzat versus Cannonier. Cannonier is coming off that loss there a few weeks ago. The very kind of, there's no very, very controversial stoppage. I didn't think that should be stopped at all. But anyway, Cannonier is one of the main kind of staples of the middleweight division. He has been for quite a long time. He's picked up some good wins along the way. He beat former champ Sean Strickland in a close, controversial, whatever you want to call it, split decision, I believe it was. And then he beat Marvin Tory. He beat the fuck out of Vittori. So Cannonier's got some good wins, man. Cannonier's got some decent wins. He fought for a belt. He came up short, but I think Hamzat versus Cannonier makes a lot of sense, to be quite honest with you. I think that's a fight the fans they wouldn't be too mad for. Obviously, we wanted Whittaker. Whittaker was the fight to make. Whittaker was the fight I wanted to see. I was so excited for that fight, but it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But this is kind of like a good stepping stone for Hamzat, because Cannonier is clearly not the best middleweight in the world, but he's able to beat a certain level of middleweight. He showed that against Marvin Vittori, but he showed against Izzy he's not able to beat the best. But then again, you could say, you know, he beat Strickland. But then again, I thought he lost to Strickland, and I think a lot of people did as well. I think just Cannonier falls short against the elite. Like, I don't think he'd be... he got fucked against Whittaker as well. Let's not forget that, back on that Gaethje Khabib card. He got fucked by Whittaker, and that was Whittaker's first fight back, I believe, after losing to Izzy. I think that was his first fight back anyway, but still. Cannonier's kind of like falling short against the big dogs. And Hamzat Chimaev is yet to prove himself against the big dogs. So why not put him in there with the next best thing? Obviously, it was meant to be Costa. It was meant to be Whittaker. It was Usman. But I think Usman does very well in middleweight, to be honest with you. But Cannonier versus Hamzat, how do I think that goes? I think Hamzat would win that fight. I think he's better on the feet, and I do think Cannonier's wrestling isn't good enough to keep it standing for as long as he needs to. I could see Cannonier get submitted. Do I think he'd go over there and ragdoll him? No, I don't. I think Cannonier... It depends if it's a 3 or 5. I think they'll do that fight on the on the Abu Dhabi card, and I think they're going to do Makachev versus Arman on that card, so I could easily see this as a co-main event. Hamzat's going to bring eyes, especially in the Abu Dhabi crowd. Like, he's meant to fight Volk, or not Volk, sorry, he's meant to fight on the Volk card. Him versus Volk would be a bit unbearable. He's meant to fight on the Volk card against Costa. He fought Usman in the end. But yeah, man, that's the fight I want to see next at middleweight. I think Hamzat would win that. I think he might even finish him to ground and pound. I could see that happening. Next, Jamal Salty Hill. Jamal Hill's gone on an absolute media tour the last few weeks, which is no fucking surprise. The dude loves a good media tour. Now, I'm a Jamal Hill fan, but he's kind of coping a little bit, but that could work in his favour, bro. I want to see Jamal Hill and Ankalaev, and I think this fight makes sense because Ankalaev is kind of one fight away from the belt all the time. I don't think he deserves a beating Johnny Walker, to be quite honest with you. I believe Johnny Walker was his last fight, and he won. He finished him, I believe. I can't remember how that fight went, actually. Yeah, no, I actually can't remember. I think he beat Johnny Walker anyway. Like, Johnny Walker is good enough to get you a title shot, in my opinion. I think you need to beat someone like higher ranked, and who else better than fighting the guy who's coming off a loss to Alex Pereira, former champ. His only losses are Paul Craig and Alex Pereira. If you beat Jamal Hill, you're going to be fighting for the belt next, and that's a fact. And I think Ankalaev is a good test for Jamal Hill, and I think Jamal Hill is a good test for Ankalaev, because Jamal Hill, he didn't look great. He looked very kind of slow against Alex Pereira, I thought. But that's kind of Jamal Hill's style, kind of prodding forward, slow boxing and stuff like that. But it works well. Ankalaev hasn't been tested by one of these really good strikers in fucking light heavyweight. I suppose you could say for Blachowicz, and I don't think Ankalaev had anything for Blachowicz. But then again, Pereira, I think, is a different cloth above the rest of them for striking. And I think Jamal Hill is up there as well. I think Jamal Hill is a better boxer and striker than Blachowicz. I think he beat Blachowicz, and I think Jamal Hill would actually beat Ankalaev. I do think Jamal Hill would be able to keep it standing long enough to where Ankalaev won't be able to get enough with the takedown to win the rounds. If this is 3-round or co-main event, maybe main card opener or something like that, I think Jamal Hill takes it in a 3-round fight. I think he's way better than him on the feet. I think he'd be able to leg kick him. I think people outbox him. Ankalaev's kind of struggled with the leg kicks, especially in Blachowicz fight. He didn't look great, and I still think his striking is not that great. He's got decent striking, but I do think wrestling is his main point. That's it for Matchmaker Monday this week. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my matchups, what you want to see next, any other series, anything. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.